Welcome back. I'll continue by discussing and introducing the different confirmation requirements. So definitely, as I mentioned before, have this packet with you and we'll kind of work through it together. So the very first requirement is to turn in the commitment to be a confirmand, which looks like this, a little bit like this. This is really important to us because I need to be able to be in communication with you to make sure you know of the different opportunities coming up for the confirmation, for the confirmands and opportunities to complete requirements for the confirmation program. So turn this in as soon as you have an inkling that you're going to be enrolled in the program. We do require the confirmand signature as well as a parent or guardian signature. While the confirmand is definitely doing the heavy lifting, the responsibility of the program, completing the program is on their shoulders. It is really important to have at least one parent or guardian or even grandparent that is willing to be there to help them, especially in light of COVID-19 when it's hard to get into church and to participate like in person in things. It's really helpful to have someone, an adult, that is accessible and there to help when they have questions and we need like immediate feedback. I will say by completing this, you're not signing your life away. If things change, if the confirmation program just isn't right for you, you can just let me know, like, hey, this isn't working out for us, and I'll just shred the document and no big deal. But we do, if you just even think that you're going to be doing the program, please, please, please turn this in at the very beginning. One, because anything that you do before you turned it in technically doesn't count because you have to turn that in to start the program. The next requirement is essentially to complete the logs. So beginning on page 3, you see you've got the start of all the logs, and it's a lot. We'll work through it. It's really not as intimidating as it might seem. A tidbit that we learned as the last confirmation class went through, it helps to have this log like easily accessible and within eyesight. If you don't mind having it on your fridge, put it on your fridge or hang it up somewhere that you see it. One, it helps remind you like, oh, I should be working on this, but also it helps you remember to write stuff down. I had a lot of parents and youth kind of trying like, I know I went to church, but I just don't remember what day. And you're really the only ones that are going to know this information. So it really helps if you can keep track as you go instead of trying to backtrack and figure out. You thought days and weeks blurred together before, but COVID-19 hit and everything just seems to blur together. And so it's really helpful if you can write things down as you go along. So when you get to that, when you embark upon the program, keep that log handy so you can write stuff down as you go. You'll see that requirement 3, so when we get to number 3, it's attending 20 youth Sunday school classes, and so log for that. So 20 classes, these can be in person, they can be virtual. You need to have 5 that are to a specific subject. So one is relating to Jesus. Say many of our Sunday school classes relate to Jesus. So if you're able to come to Sunday school and help out one Sunday, that would count, especially if we're talking, let's say we're talking about leading up to Easter Sunday, and we're talking about Jesus in Jerusalem, or Palm Sunday. That's about Jesus. You can count that. I will, once you're enrolled in the program, I'll send out emails highlighting what's coming up and what's going to fit these different opportunities. It's my job to provide these opportunities for the confirmands. And so I really will work with each individual confirmand to make sure that they have the opportunities they need to experience these classes. And there are just different ones held throughout the year. There's not going to be one individual opportunity, like there's only one class on church history. And if you miss it, that's it for this year. We make sure there are multiple opportunities available. And then the additional classes can just be for any different subject matter, any different time. We will have many more virtual or online opportunities this year than we did last year because of COVID-19. And it's just hard to tell when people were going to be able to be in person and not. And then some people might not be able to. They might be quarantined, or they might just not be able to because they can't risk exposing people in their household. So they can't risk going out to attend something. We'll have plenty of opportunities, like virtual opportunities, available for them. The 4th requirement is completing the media log. So the very first set is a collection of videos from Chuck Knows Church. And actually, let me see, how many do we go to? It goes all the way, there are 60 of them. which sounds pretty daunting, but the videos themselves are short, somewhat humorous videos with introductions to different aspects of church and Christianity that the youth might not be familiar with. I learned an awful lot when I was looking through all of them, reading through them for the program. They're all, as I said, pretty short, 2 to 3 minutes. Some are longer, some are shorter. And then there's a short question to answer, but they're very educational, but you can knock several out really quickly. And it's one of those things that if you just do a couple here or there, you'll be done before you know it. We also ask you to watch the UCC video UC 101, and then to listen to any podcast from Into the Mystic, which is kind of the UCC's podcast. And you can access that from the UCC website. We ask you to watch 2 movies, and there are different options. So some of them you might have already seen. However, I do want to say this list is not just limited to these. If you have another movie that you would like to watch, I will say there are quite a few on Netflix that work as a Christian-based movie option. Just email me, call me, and ask like, hey, I was wanting to watch this. Will this work? And I'll get back to you as quick as I can with a yes or a no. It's usually going to be a yes, as long as it has some type of faith base. Really, we're wanting to expose you to Christianity and media culture. So watch 2 of those movies. Hopefully things will open up and we can have movie nights at youth group. That was one of our goals this past year and it didn't really happen. We watched one, but we weren't able to do a second one because of COVID-19 and not being able to gather together. So hopefully we'll be able to do that this coming year for the confirmation program. Requirement 5 is attending 20 worship services at St. Paul UCC. These can be virtual or live streamed worship services. You just need to make sure to remember to initial and date when you do it, because I'm definitely going to have no idea that you watched it if I didn't see you there in person. So the next one is to volunteer as an usher, greeter, or reader during a worship service at St. Paul's. We will ask, we're still figuring this component out, especially as we open back up. And we do have worship services, but not everyone may be able to attend. However, we can take video recordings, and I did have confirmands this past spring send in a Lord's Prayer recording or send in the scripture reading via video. And so that is going to be one way that this can be accomplished in light of COVID-19. And then hopefully as we're able to have more and more people in church worship, we can have our confirmands that maybe aren't comfortable reading or talking in front of other people serve as ushers. Requirement 6, confirmation finds God in other places logs. So we ask that you attend 4 non-St. Paul UCC church services. And as I said, in light of COVID-19, these can be virtual worship services. You can live stream or watch pre-recorded worship services from other church. We do want one to be non-Christian. And so this could be Buddhist, Muslim. There are different options available online to see these. Hopefully, our confirmation field trips are one of the best aspects of our confirmation program, in my opinion. And so hopefully we'll be able to be bringing some of those back this year. The highlights of the confirmation program for many of our youth in the past have been visiting the mosque and the Holocaust Museum and learning about the Jewish faith. And those would both count for this requirement. So hopefully we'll be able to bring those back in some way in the coming year. But if not, we'll be probably heavily relying on the availability of online tours and worship services to attend. You have to, this is going to be hard. It's not going to be hard though. Spend an hour sitting outdoors in nature without any electronic device. So just kind of trying to draw closer to God, looking for God in nature without the distractions of phones or tablets. So you just mark that down. We do ask each confirmand to provide 20 hours or more of volunteer service, either at church or in the community. Please reach out if this is going to be a problem. We do have at-home service kits, community service kits available each month that could knock out several hours probably each month. And we'll find a way to meet this despite things being trickier with COVID-19. Then we get into the requirements that are definitely self-paced at or confirmand's own on their own time schedule. Reading the entire Gospel of Mark, reading any 10 Psalms and then recording them down, reading the UCC Statement of Faith, getting the church history handout and reading through it. And we ask that you ask the pastor for a history of the church handout. Requirement 11 is for the confirmand to attend a pizza with the pastor or other similar informal meetings with the pastor. So 4 times, kind of spending some time getting to know the pastor of St. Paul UCC. This is definitely very fluid and flexible depending on what COVID-19 looks like. They might have to be Zoom meetings. We're not sure, but we'll be mapping them out, and I will definitely let any youth enroll in confirmation of the ones as they come up. And then when you enroll in the program, confirmation program, you are assigned a mentor, which is going to be someone in our church who can kind of help shepherd you and get to know you or get to know the confirmand throughout the process. And so we do ask that you meet with your adult mentor at least 5 dates. Once again, this is going to be more flexible. It might look a little bit different this year because many of our mentors might be an older church member, and it's not going to be maybe possible to have in-person meetings safely and with COVID-19. So they might be phone, they might be FaceTime, anything like that. It might be how we're having to adapt the mentor program, the mentor aspect of the program. We do ask that each confirmand attend one youth group or special youth event at least once. So youth group meetings we're starting to bring back on Wednesday nights, but we are planning on holding kind of some more socially distanced, fun youth group meetings. We're planning on a horseback trail ride at Du Bois later this fall. We're going to be doing Frisbee golf at Canarsie Park in September. So we're going to try to provide plenty of opportunities for the youth to get together in a safe, socially distanced way. So the final 2 requirements are probably the more, I wouldn't say difficult, but more time consuming. We do ask that each confirmand writes 3 papers. They just need to be about a page long. And really, it's the intent and we're just asking the youth to put some thought into it. We're not going to be critiquing spelling or grammar. We do want them to put time into it and time and effort. So the first one is just about a worship experience at our church or at another church. And this is just a great way for youth to start thinking about what they like about worship, what they don't like, what they might be looking for if they move away from Waterloo and they're looking to find a new church. What maybe the things that they want to be looking for. What are the things that are important to them? Our next paper is about what they believe God is, who they believe God is. And then finally, we ask each confirmand to pick a confirmation verse and explain why they selected it. So a confirmation verse, as you get further into the program, I'm definitely willing, and I know the pastor is willing to work with you to figuring out what confirmation verse fits best for you. But it's a really important thing to pick your confirmation verse. It's often brought up at your funeral in our church. So your confirmation verse is supposed to carry you kind of through your life. So we do ask you put some thought into it, and mentors and parents and guardians can play a really big role in helping the youth determine what verse might work best for them. And then finally, we have the take-home exam, which is after the requirements, which is just there are questions about the Old Testament, questions about the New Testament, questions about the UCC Church, general Bible knowledge. So these are all just things that they probably should have picked up along the way. But as it says at the beginning, you can really use any resources for this, except don't copy off someone else's work, which I feel like should just be implied. But you can use research, or you can use Google. You can maybe ask Alexa, maybe she'll know. If you have questions, you should ask a guardian, parent, or your mentor. And yeah, that is our confirmation program in a nutshell. Once again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I look forward to another great confirmation program here with you.